We have been so betrayed by the highest of educated, who betray themselves on an ongoing basis. I mean, totally. I used to say on my old channel, before it was taken down, that I like to go on foundersarchives.gov and just read it's just letters, like that the letters would write the founders and the founders would write, and a lot of stuff by Benjamin Franklin. But I just like to read what they thought of God. And I mean, because they were the Pilgrims, when America was founded in 1620 was the Pilgrims, and then 1776 was the Declaration of Independence, all that stuff. Those founders, the 1776 founders, I've said they believed in God, but unlike the 1620 Pilgrims, the Pilgrims, they actually knew God. They had that relation. Everything was about God, like every moment. And they were just regular people. They were the ones that fled England because they didn't want to worship the way the Church of England, which was the government, wanted them to worship. So I like to go on foundersarchives.gov and read some of their stuff, and it seems like it's really the higher educated. I'm really not trying to be mean, I really am not, but it seems like they're the ones that have fallen the most for the trap of, well, what started at the very beginning, which was taking from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. See, you can't gain the knowledge without knowing the good and the bad. So if you look at what God wanted initially, he didn't want them to know that. He wanted them to live in paradise. You can't live in paradise if you know the good and the bad. And look at what the higher educated have done. We literally live under a surveillance state. I mean, I found out today that the cameras in hospitals, like, because I work in a place that it's like, I'm sure they probably even have one hidden in the bathroom. I wouldn't trust them. But they're everywhere. It's ridiculous. I mean, they're so everywhere. I mean, it's not like they're hiding them or anything. No, they're everywhere. And they tell you they're constantly watching you. Well, I find out today, no, well, I guess they can have audio. Yeah, they don't have to tell you. Because who has the courts really served? They serve the higher educated. They serve the lawyers. They serve the government. They serve the wealthy. But it's not just the wealthy. They serve the higher educated. And yet people want to say, well, science and technology have brought us that. What have technology has brought us under more of a surveillance state. And it's going to take us more into that. I don't know how anybody will walk that shit back. I mean, I can't stand it. It's a horrible place to live. I mean, I never give up because I believe in God and all that, but it's a horrible place to live. I'm just being honest. It is. When you have a government that has had you under constant surveillance, even audio surveillance through your phone or, at your employers, everywhere you go, you're not a free person. You're not. You're a controlled person. You're a person that's been violated because you thought you were free, but you're not. Yet every other animal in the animal kingdom is free. I mean, with the exception of us killing all of them, killing the animals. But I'm just saying, putting that aside, they don't have their own governments and they just live free, right? But man can't do that, no. Because other men have to constantly keep everyone under control. And who are the men that want to keep everyone under? It's the higher educated, because they think they know best. But they're the people that are always running to the tree of knowledge of good and evil, aren't they? And yet they're the very people that the Supreme Court, the reason they decided that we shouldn't have our, the government should be allowed to limit our speech is because there are experts in these certain areas. And if, some of the arguments were if you're at war, people could be interfering with that. Well, then you shouldn't be at war, should you? You don't get to, I mean, they've literally used safety, and I'm not just talking about COVID in 2020, but it's been all along. I mean, that's how they brought the Patriot Act in, was 9/11, which, I mean, and we were stupid. We fell for it. That's why Benjamin Franklin said, you know, if you want to sacrifice freedom for safety, then don't expect to have either. But we are in a surveillance state that's getting worse and worse all the time because of the fact that we listen to experts. And the Supreme Court is a bunch of experts that wants us to continue to listen to experts. That's why all the higher educated, you can't get through to them. They've been feasting off of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, literally. It's the reason they don't have a moral compass. There's a reason God didn't want man to, did not want them to take from that tree. Because then you want to know more, and you want to know more, and the science knows best. And then it becomes, after a while, you know, after almost 300 years of America, it gets to this place where the experts see themselves as, no, it doesn't matter what you say. You don't have the right etiquette, you don't have the right look, you don't have the right money, you don't have the right degrees. So I don't have to listen to you. It's not like you could be wise. And why would they be looked down? Why would they be so racist like that? Why would the Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett, Kavanaugh, think that it's best for us during certain times that the government be allowed to limit our speech? Well, because they've been feasting off of the tree of good and evil. But so have all the other higher educated people. I'd even put Jordan Peterson in that camp, quite frankly. It's their circle. That's what it always is. It's about their circle. And maybe they'll let somebody into their little circle. But it's still all about the higher educated. Just like this country is still about the government and the Supreme Court and them all serving each other, but never serving what they were put in their roles to serve, which is our Constitution. So it's no wonder that we've lost freedoms. The very last people we should listen to is the people of all this technology and science. And before somebody says, well, no, the science has done some good things. Well, yeah, that's the way the devil operates. I mean, it does. It's the way any good narcissist or psychopath operates. It's got to throw you some bones every once in a while. So, yeah, I mean, the majority, yeah, you go in, but what, they treat symptoms, right? They just treat symptoms. I mean, yeah, you could say surgery, but how do you know you really need it? How many people that have said, oh, well, you know, it shows you have this cancer on some, you know, test you get. How do you know that's true? And I'm not saying it's because all the doctors and the hospitals are all, that's not what I'm saying. I mean, I think the executives are wicked. I think you'd have to be to do what they do. But no, it's just everybody's been feasting at the tree of good, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And science has been the number one way that it's become the worshiper. Because the more you push God out, and that's what science has done. And now science is trying to come back in, actually. And I said 3 years ago on a video on YouTube, it was on my channel, they took down, but I said the science is getting a major smackdown by God. I said that. And I said, and what they'll do is they're going to come back to try to pull themselves up and be still on top by saying, well, no, we recognize God. Well, slowly they're starting to do that now, but they want to call it design intelligence. Shove your design intelligence up your ass. That's part of the problem. They want to have control of it. Again, why? Because they've been feasting at the tree of knowledge of good and evil. See, the longer you stay in that education, which is why this world wants you to go for as many degrees as possible, the more you will become somebody that lacks a moral compass. You'll think you have one, but you just don't really care. You would never care what somebody like me says. You wouldn't care. You could care less what anybody that's poor or doesn't have all your education would think. They're literally the higher educated. Most of them. Majority, 99%, really don't even know it, but they are the disciples of Satan.